So, never one to shy away from controversy or an opportunity to share my opinion. This video is going to be what I consider to be the top 25 rock and roll songs of the 1960s. This was definitely not an easy task. It is so hard. The 1960s were one of the greatest decades of music, and trying to pick 25 songs is near impossible. So I know already I'm going to take some heat because I left some songs off of here that are iconic. I tried my best. I really scoured all of the years in the 1960s to try to come up with what I consider to be the best rock and roll songs of that decade, and also tried not to have it be 25 Beatles songs or Rolling Stone songs. I mean, I could have made a list that had all Beatles, all Who, Led Zeppelin, Rolling Stones, and that would have been it. I mean, I could have easily done a list like that, but I tried to spread the wealth around a little bit and really have it be a truly representative list. It's definitely skewed more towards the mid to late 60s. I don't know that I have anything from the early 60s because, truth be told, I'm not so much a fan of the early 60s rock and roll. You're not going to see any Elvis on here, any Chuck Berry or whatever, the early 60s. Not going to be any Four Seasons, stuff like that. So bear with me. Just enjoy the list for what it is. Don't take me to task because your favorite artist wasn't on here. Let's just appreciate it for what it is. So, number 25, Mrs. Robinson by Simon and Garfunkel. Who doesn't like Simon and Garfunkel? I mean, wasn't Mrs. Robinson the soundtrack to the late 60s? I wasn't even around. And for me, when I think of the 60s, I think of, The Graduate and Simon and Garfunkel. I could have picked so many Simon and Garfunkel songs, but for me, this one was the quintessential Simon and Garfunkel track. It name checks a lot of historical figures. You got Joe DiMaggio, Goo Goo Gajoob, nod to the Beatles. It's just a great, great track. One of Simon and Garfunkel's best. Number 24, I'm going to go with the Byrds. Again, I could have picked a handful of Byrds tracks. I love the Byrds. No matter whether they were 5, 4, whether David Crosby was in it or not, I love the Byrds a lot. 8 Miles High from the Byrds was definitely one of the first psychedelic rock records. They were definitely taking influences from the world of jazz and John Coltrane with the riff that Roger McGuinn came up with for this track. People think it's a drug reference song, but if you believe the Byrds, it's actually more about flying. And Fear of Flying was actually one of the reasons why Gene Clark left the group after this single was recorded, because he was afraid of flying and didn't want to tour with the band. So anyway, that's my number 24. Number 23, Yardbirds, Heart Full of Soul. One of the most influential British blues bands. This was with Jeff Beck on guitar after Eric Clapton had felt that they were moving too far in a commercial direction, but a great single. I love the fact that you've got the acoustic guitar on the verses. You've got Jeff Beck's great lead guitar on here. It's a great riff. You've got the ascending and descending ha, ha, vocals there, which is so clever and so cool. Always love that track. I will never get tired of listening to that. Love it. Number 22, Baby, Please Don't Go by them. Another great, fantastic, call it garage rock, call it early 60s fuzz rock. I don't think you can quite classify it as too bluesy or psychedelic, although it's got a lot of blues to it, but it's just a great, great interpretation of that song and a great vocal by Van Morrison. What a great way his career kicked off. Number 21, Sympathy for the Devil by the Rolling Stones. Ooh, the first instance of satanic rock, if you will, but it's still a playful lyric. Mick Jagger's got his tongue firmly in his cheek when he's talking about Satan and taking on that persona. I believe it was based on a book. Rolling Stones certainly at this point had their Satanic Majesty's request, and they were definitely getting down with the devil at this point in their career. Not the first or the last devil-related song that they would do, but it's still very cool. I love the rhythm, love everything about it. The guitar is great. The woo, 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 woo. It's so cool. Love that. Might be my favorite track off Beggar's Banquet, which has so many great tracks on it. Number 20, Born to Be Wild. How you like that? Didn't think I was going to sing on this video, did you? Steppenwolf. Man, was there ever a more copied track or a song that was more iconic, a song that represented the 60s and just kind of the free love, free spirit, and yet, you know, name checks heavy metal. Might be the first instance where that phrase is used, I think, but nonetheless, it is just a cool, heavy rocker. Steppenwolf were a great band, and everyone knows this track. There's not a single person alive who hasn't heard this song at one time or another, and it's got to be on this list because it's still great today. I don't care how many times you've heard it, but it is cool. Number 19, Spencer Davis Group, Give Me Some Lovin'. Love Steve Winwood, especially when he was trying to do his Ray Charles impression, and he's just got such a soulful voice, and I think he was like 13 years old or something when he recorded this. Ridiculously young, but to have that soulful of a voice at that age, it's a song you can dance to. It's a song you can groove to. Just a great, great, great iconic 60s track. Just love it. Love the organ. Steve Winwood is such a great keyboardist, but everything about it, the rhythm, you know, it could have been a Motown band that backed Steve Winwood on this. It is so cool. Number 18, Creedence Clearwater Revival, Fortunate Son, one of the hardest rocking protest songs of the late 60s, definitely a Vietnam era track, which has probably appeared in more Vietnam movies than any other track, but just very cool. Bob Seger covered it. Definitely one of the coolest protest songs ever. For What It's Worth, number 17 by Buffalo Springfield. There's something happening here. What it is ain't exactly clear. Just a cool, mellow, mellow but serious vocal by Stephen Stills. Got a great Neil Young guitar lick. Buffalo Springfield is one of the coolest bands of the late 60s. They did not give a shit what anybody thought about them. And Neil Young left the band a couple times because it's like, whatever, I don't care. I'm going to go off and do my own thing. I don't need you guys. But that was the cool thing about him. You had Stephen Stills, you had Richie Furay, you had Neil Young. I mean, so many great people in that band. It really was a super group before there was such a thing as a super group. And they were just the coolest, man. And that was also a great protest song too, where you could have just such a melodic, cool protest song on the radio that you could hum along to and also shake your fist. Number 16, California Dreamin'. Mamas and the Papas, love the vocal harmonies on this. Should have been a Beach Boys track, but again, those four voices blended so well together. The melody on here, everything about it, it is just a bleak, wintry, crappy, shitty weather day, wishing you were in California. Anybody who doesn't live in California or somewhere warm can relate to this track, and it is awesome. Number 15, Lovin' Spoonful, Summer in the City. I love the way that track starts out. Boom, 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 boom. Sound effect. I can do, look how versatile I am. I can sing, I can do sound effect. I'm not even drinking right now and I can do it. Anyway, yeah, love Summer in the City. It's a summer song, but yet it's like a gritty summer song. Like, man, doesn't living in the city during the summertime suck? Wish I was on a beach. It's just a cool track. Lovin' Spoonful were great. They don't get enough credit, but damn it, that is a great song. Number 14, Cream, Sunshine of Your Love, one of the most iconic riffs of the 60s. Always think of the Martin Scorsese films when I hear this track. I don't remember which one it was in, but damn it, another super group there. You got Ginger Baker on the drums, you got Jack Bruce on bass, and great vocalist, by the way, and you got that totally one of the most iconic riffs of the 60s from Eric Clapton. Just great, man. So many great. This list was a joy to compile because you revisit all that great music and realize what a perfect decade it was. Number 13, the Kinks, All Day and All the Night. Could have gone, definitely with You Really Got Me, but I don't know, just something about that melody. The only time I feel alright. Just that hook right there puts it over the top for me, makes it my favorite Kinks song of the 60s. And I mean, again, the Kinks got so many great tracks, and maybe, I went too early with my pick for the Kinks, but I don't care, damn it. Ray Davies just crafted a perfect pop song with this. Another great riff. And, the Kinks didn't really sound too much like this further into the rest of the decade, but I love this period. The Shel Talmy Kinks records. Number 12, getting into a little progressive rock here with Moody Blues, Legend of a Mind. Always loved this one where it just kind of it's floating around talking about Timothy Leary's dead. He's not, by the way. I don't know why they said that. No, he's out. I don't know. I have no idea what the hell it all means other than somebody's on acid singing about, writing lyrics, whatever it's about. But it's very cool. I love how there's that kind of that soft, gentle break in the middle. You feel like the song's breaking down. Maybe it's going to end. And then the strings come in and then it starts picking up. You got the flute, all that, sort of like precursor to Jethro Tull. Great track. Almost a blueprint for a progressive rock there. And I love that one. Number 11, going to do a little Doors. Again, how do you pick a Doors song from the 60s? But got to go with Light My Fire. That was the one that started it all. Still great. I love kind of that jazzy improvisation that they go into in the middle. It's a great lyric by Robbie Krieger. Jim Morrison sings the hell out of it. He's such a crooner. And I think the melody is great. Everything about it, from the opening, little guitar melody, and the way Jim Morrison just totally makes love to that song is fantastic. Number 10, finally, I got to the Beatles, Strawberry Fields Forever. Just an amazing song, especially when you know how the song came together. It was in different tempos, and John thought about recording it one way and then changed his mind, decided to record it a different way, and then just gave the tapes to George Martin and said, you put it all together and make something beautiful out of it. And damn it, he did. That is a gorgeous track. So interesting. One of the first singles of 1967, and can't imagine being a Beatles fan and hearing that on the radio for the first time and your mind blown by how fantastic that was. And then you flip it over, you got Penny Lane on the B-side. I mean, how fantastic was that? But Strawberry Fields Forever, it's just got childlike imagery. It's fun wordplay by John. You just got interesting instrumentation. You got the Mellotron opening, the ominous, menacing strings, kind of the coda at the end that fades out and then fades back in, and the whole cranberry song. I mean, don't get me started. So great. Number 9, the Jimi Hendrix Experience, The Wind Cried Mary. And the wind cried Mary. Yeah, Jimi Hendrix was a great vocalist. Not only was he the best guitarist of all time, but he was a damn good vocalist, a damn good songwriter, and that's the part that people kind of overlook about Jimi Hendrix. And that first album, Are You Experienced, is amazing from start to finish, and this is my favorite track on it. I think it's bluesy, but it's also kind of mellow, it's psychedelic, it's all the great things that Jimi Hendrix Experience was. Number 8, I'm going back to the Rolling Stones for Jumpin' Jack Flash. What a great song. I know, I got to put a couple Rolling Stones on here. They are one of my favorite bands of the 60s, and Jumpin' Jack Flash is just a great track. The video is cool, everything about it. It's one of their last great moments with Brian Jones, kind of fully participating, and really it was kind of like, okay, we did the psychedelic thing, now we're back to doing the bluesy, cool rock thing, and Jumpin' Jack Flash is a great track. Number 7, going with The Who. You know, The Who. I could have picked at least 12 of these songs could have been Who tracks, but I'm going to pick I Can See for Miles by The Who, one of the greatest Who singles of all time. Just love that track. The lyric, Roger Daltrey's like, you cannot hide from me. I see everything. Don't think for a minute you're going to pull the wool over on my eyes. I know exactly what's going on. I know where it's at, man. I can see for miles and miles and miles and miles and miles. Like, for however many miles there are from here to the end of infinity. That's how many miles I can see. How badass, you know? And it's on a great album, too. The Who Sell Out is just a fantastic freaking album. Check it out if you haven't already. Number 6, my man, Bob Dylan, Like a Rolling Stone. I really wanted to go with Rainy Day Women, number 16 and number 35. But this song, man, I mean, it defined the 60s. Bob Dylan laying down the gauntlet, like, here's what I got. Let me see what you got. I know you can't match me. Ain't nobody gonna stand toe-to-toe lyrically with Bob Dylan. He's full-on electric now. Bob Dylan just spitting bile. You know, it's a great diss track before there ever was such a thing. And he's putting somebody down. And it is just such a stinging indictment of whoever he's talking about, which is up for debate. But absolutely fantastic Bob Dylan song. And it's so long, too. Hard to believe that it was a single, but it is awesome. Number 5, gonna go with some Led Zeppelin, Whole Lotta Love from their second album. I mean, everything that came afterwards, this was a template for so much of hard rock. Definitely took the blues to an entirely different level. Robert Plant, you know, showing Jim Morrison, this is how you sex a song up. And definitely Led Zeppelin were untouchable. And already their second album, they're a band of the 70s, but they were at the tail end of the 60s, and they were just on fire at this point. Led Zeppelin 2 is a great album, and this, for me, is the best track on it. Number 4, Beach Boys, Good Vibrations. So many great Beach Boys tracks, too. I forgot. I could have picked like 10 Beach Boys songs to put on here, and I wouldn't even feel bad about it. You could have taken me to task in the comment section, and I wouldn't care. But I restrained myself. I only put the best one on here, Good Vibrations. And I know I picked Heroes and Villains for my Beach Boys favorite, but I'm talking about the 60s, man. This was iconic. Number 1 track. This really, again, was a track where Brian Wilson said, this is the future of music. Check it out. We're not the surfing car song Beach Boys anymore. We're moving into an entirely different phase, and you guys can't even catch up. Not even the Beatles. It's a great track. I mean, all the different segments. It's a little mini opera. So good. So good. All right, number 3, going back to the Beatles, A Day in the Life. One of the best tracks on one of the best albums of the 60s, Sgt. Pepper. The way that ends, like the end of the world, just the whole, I mean, the orchestral crescendo kind of at the end. It's a great lyric from John Lennon. It's a great vocal. I love that you got Paul McCartney, who does his little segment, woke up, fell out of bed, dragged the comb across my head. Love that part, you know, and the John Lennon vocal is great. Everything about it, damn it. Ringo's drum fills are fantastic. Excellent, excellent song. Number 2, Rolling Stones, You Can't Always Get What You Want. I know Mick Jagger. I know, you guys are laughing at me thinking, this idiot, this clown, dislike, boo, whatever. I don't know. You know, I have fun with it, but you can't always get what you want. I mean, come on. They got a choir that doesn't sound out of place. It doesn't sound ridiculous. Everything about it is so cool. It even got the choir at the end when they're just bashing the hell, when that song is all kicking ass at the end. You still got the choir, and it's like, yeah, sounds cool. I dig it, you know. I mean, could you have imagined, you know, a couple of years before, you know, the next step for the Rolling Stones is going to be they're going to add a choir. You've been like, what? But they do it, and they get away with it, and damn it, it's a great lyric. Just kind of like the end of the 60s, that total hangover, exhausted. my friends are junkies, you know, the world is on fire, and, you know, let's just get through this damn decade already, and hopefully the 70s will be a little better. So, love it. Number one, what is it? Is it the Beatles? Is it the Rolling Stones? Is it the Beach Boys? Is it the Who? It's got to be Led Zeppelin. No. It is Procol Harum, A Whiter Shade of Pale. Love that song. I don't know that much about Procol Harum. I know a couple songs, but this is just a gorgeous track. And I love the keyboard. I love the soulful vocal. Just for me, it's everything great about the 60s. And it's not bombastic. There's not this shredding guitar solo. It's not, you know, an in-your-face political protest. It's got some whimsical lyrics that I don't entirely understand, but that's a great thing about 60s rock. At that time, you could enjoy it on drugs, or you could enjoy it off of drugs. You know, this song is fantastic, and I am making no apologies about calling it my number one. So that's my list. Go ahead, tear me apart, have at it, but just remember, hashtag free Jeff Witcher, which I didn't start. But anyway, hope you've enjoyed this. If you like videos like this, will you do me a solid and subscribe, please? Or at the very least, give me a like.